for keeping me kind of on track here. When we wrapped up last week with the law of navigation, I'm going to just scoot ahead here. I hope y'all enjoyed the chapter. I love all these chapters. Um, I'm just trying to see something here. I'm missing a chapter on okay.
John, do you want to make me co-host so I can keep the lines muted?
Yeah, let me, okay, let me find you, Jane. There you are. And co-host you are. Yes, yes. Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's do a little round robin. Let's kind of shoot around here. You guys can either raise your hand or just unmute. As long as we don't step on each other, we keep some form of quorum per se. Again, I think it's probably about the fifth time I've been through this book. I don't know if you guys have been to a movie a couple of times, 2-3 times, read a book 2-3, maybe 4 times. People kind of laugh at you or look at you. Well, why would you read? I got a whole library here, and I like going back to my books. And I get different things the second time. I get different things the third time. I've always got a chance to kind of take my awareness to something different, or maybe increase my awareness to another level based on where I am at the time, and I'm looking at all of us from a growth perspective. The Slight Edge is it's a great book. I've known Jeff a long time, but the simple daily disciplines compounded over time yield great results. You guys have all heard this, y'all know it. A lot of people think, well, gosh, I don't see any results in my first 5 weeks. I'm just going to quit doing what I was committed to. It doesn't work that way. If you commit to growing 1% a week, over 52 weeks at the end of the year, people that know you will look at you and go, man, there's just something different. So that's just the beauty of this. And so I'm just really enjoying, I don't know, even more so than normal, just kind of going through, the just different laws that we're kind of studying and living by right now. And I love the law of navigation. I love the stories about the explorers. And I'm really enjoying the law of addition because in Knoxville, Tennessee, we happen to know some of the owners of Chick-fil-A. So I've had a chance to firsthand experience their character, their integrity, their business model, and what it is they profess to be and how they live it out. So it's really pretty cool. All right. I'm going to share this just in case we want to go to it. I don't think we will, but I've got it just in case. Okay. Can you see what I got up right there? I got the law of navigation still up. And for some reason, it goes into the law of E.F. Hutton. I don't know why it goes into that next, but anyhow, we talked about, planning ahead last time. I asked everybody if they would these questions, and let's just go around for a minute. How do you choose? How do you choose who to run your ideas by before implementing maybe a course of action or something you're thinking through? How do you choose who your workout partner is going to be? All right. How do you choose who will assist you on a 3-way call? So let's just kind of share a few thoughts here. And, as you kind of think about this has everything to do with the law of navigation. If you look at the 2 explorers, one succeeded and one guy lost his entire team. Okay. And it had to do with planning. It had to do with planning ahead. It had to do with slowing down to speed up. All right. All the tools are out there. We're not discussing tools. We're not discussing disciplines. We're not discussing, SOPs, standard operating procedures. Y'all get it. We've been together a long time. Y'all understand what you need to be doing. You understand the value of Performance Club. You understand the value of recruiting. You understand the value of new blood. All those things, fast start, understand, selling a membership properly, la-di-da-di-da. So who wants to kind of share anything from who do you run your ideas by? How do you choose your workout partner? How do you choose who's going to assist you maybe on a three-way call? Go ahead, Brenda.
Good evening, John. Number one, my primary best friend, Jane Lehman, workout partner. Absolutely her. I'll run by things. And another partner I've got on the line here, connected both Jane and I, is Phyllis Martins. So the three of us, we will run things with one another. We will also do three ways with one another. So that's kind of my little tribe, our little threesome.
And Brenda, when you look at Jane and Stella as workout partners, as three-way partners,
Phyllis.
or Phyllis, okay, Phyllis, how'd you go about choosing it? You know, what was it? You know, what were the values, or what the thought process in aligning with those two?
Well, Jane and I just go way back from when we first heard one another on the call, and then we met at an event. But Jane is always also the steady Eddie in the business, where I've been in and out. Even though I've been in and out, I've always been plugged in, and I've always appreciated her work ethic in the business. Phyllis has an IT background. She's very knowledgeable in her background, but they're just individuals that have high standards and an excellent work ethic.
Okay. So high standards can equate to people who are dependable. So if you need a three-way call, you're not going to leave your guest hanging for 2 weeks.
True.
Fair.
True.
You know, you mentioned steady Eddie with Jane, so the fact that we could equate that to dependable, accountable. And I
Right.
would
Okay.
right, no, good. No, this is good. This is just, you know, for everybody on the phone. I would also imagine if somebody's going to be dependable, they're probably going to hold maybe you and each other accountable.
And Jane, John, Phyllis, about a couple years ago, I reached out to our little group, and I put it out there who wanted to be an exercise workout partner with me. Now I'm in Kentucky. Phyllis is in Rapid City, but we could still communicate texting. Hey, I did this, and what can
Okay.
I say? I invited her, but she has stayed steady every day. So this woman's dependable
So
as
good,
well.
dependable, and consistent and persistent, critical factors in, you know, aligning with goals in this business. So that's good. Okay. I like it. Thank you, Brenda. I see Bridget's hand up. Bridget?
Good evening, John family. For my three ways, I actually have throughout the years several pages on people that will help me with three ways. David Guidro out of Alabama is one that if he's available, and he could be working a school function, he could be working any group, and if he's available to step out, he will in a heartbeat. Alex Shahid too. April Joy, when she was really working the business. If I've got a DM person that I want someone to talk to as far as me being in front of them, Sharon Larry is one that I go to often. So you have to get a list. And when you are at convention this April, get business cards and just really see where they focus, folks, because that's how I started my list.
I love it. Those, I tell you what, guys, there's some huge value just in that right there. And I like the idea, Bridget, of the alliance and the networking you did at conferences. I know Alex Shahid well. Great guy for a three-way call, brings tremendous energy. Great with from a youth perspective. I mean, he can talk to anybody, but he brings the
Right.
youth perspective.
Yeah.
April Hurst, April brings a little different perspective. David Guidro, he's got the solution side. He's got the decision maker side, you know, and then Sharon Larry, you know, everything from the employee benefit side just as well. So I think it's absolutely important that you can align yourself at times to mix and match and try to mirror, who you might be discussing with. And I kind of like that too with what Brenda talked about. Phyllis with an IT perspective is going to probably bring a little different of a delivery than maybe Jane from Jane's perspective. And not one isn't better than the other. You just kind of work to mix and match, that's all. And that's the beauty in it. That's also the power and why I constantly try to drive you guys from a recruiting perspective, to the Shield Nation leadership page. They don't have to relate to me. They don't have to relate to Darcy. They don't have to relate to, Katie. They don't have to relate to, Lisa Schiller and John Schiller. Somewhere in that list, a young person might relate to Brielle's story. Someone else might relate to William Choma's story, who's, from another country that came here with his parents, somebody might relate to Cliff's story. It doesn't matter, they're going to see the kind of team we've got, the diversity that we've got, the talent that we've got, and, the backgrounds. And when I talk about diversity, I'm talking about backgrounds of that nature because it's just so critical. Anyhow, good stuff. Very good. Who else? Maybe one more and we'll kind of move along. Anybody? Let me cruise through here and see if
There's a hand up. Steve.
is there?
Steve.
Oh, Steve McAllister. I missed you. Steve, go ahead.
That's all right. Actually, because I was part of, Ray and Debbie's team, I always relied on Ray and Debbie. So June, I don't know if you know June Ryder or Julie Kwasnick up there in Michigan.
Yeah.
We've talked plenty of times, and they've been a great help to me. And then, of course, as far as upline, I would love to have you on a three-way if I could.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I've told this team for a long time, I'll be available for three ways. Just bring your hitters, just bring your stronger players. Maybe those aren't the best words to me. If you've got some part-time college student that's looking at the opportunity, find someone else. Only because my time is just so limited. And I'm not taking anything away from a part-time college student, but you can have 3, 4, 15 people do a good three-way with that as an example. But I'm happy to do three ways with any one of you at the time you need it. Just try to utilize my level at the best time you can, at the best matching you can. Okay, good. I'm here for you. I'm going to share one other thing too. I just got a call from my good dear friend Cheryl Garcia. And there was a guy that's in the organization out there in Colorado. His uplines quit the business and he's wanting to switch uplines because he doesn't know who his upline is. And his upline happens to be me. Well, it's the saddest thing. And I can't tell you how disturbing it is in this organization that we're not teaching 3, 4, 5, and 6 levels deep. All right. Because maybe this person's upline hasn't quit the business. Okay, maybe they're still active as far as keeping their membership. They're not doing anything, and this person wants to go in a different direction with a different organization. He doesn't want to go in a different direction with a different organization now that he realizes who his upline is. So that's the last thing you want to see happen. Teach to teach to teach, and that's the power and the purpose of Shield Nation and having everybody locked in to something that's just bigger than one person. So anyhow, okay, let's jump into the new chapter of the Law of Addition. I'm going to share a few thoughts and then let's just kind of open it up to any questions that you all might have. This so far has maybe become one of my favorite chapters because this organization and something that Darcy and I have lived by for now almost 35 years is servant leadership. And, we've had the good fortune to be mentored by very dear friend of mine. I mean, Rip and I later in life, Rip Mason, very close. I've spent a lot of time with Rip. But before that, Paul J. Meyer. Paul J. Meyer, who many of you know, He passed years and years ago. But if you haven't had a chance to read some of his books, please do so. But Paul, for whatever reason, praise the Lord, adopted Darcy and I, saw something special in us, and just was willing to take that time to mentor and coach. And what this chapter did is really speak to that law of addition. But Jim Sinegal, the CEO of Costco, really talks about on page 47. I just think is just really solid. Just talks about, John talks about that relationship, that he had and how he got to know, the founder of Costco. To think the size of that organization, and he draws a salary of $350,000, which is in the bottom 10% of corporate salaries. To me, it's just that kind of blew me away for the fourth time as I'm going back into that. Page 48. If you look at that, page 48, he talks about how he pays his employees well and offers them good benefits. All you got to do is put next to that the word serve. All right. The investors, the shareholders, and all those who are involved in the company, private equity as an example, wishes him to do something different. Pay your employees less. Don't give them the benefits. Improve the bottom line so that we can get a better valuation, so that when we exit the deal, we make more money. I. And if you look at the power of Costco today, forget about it. Jim, he says there's just no way. I know what my model consists of. I know why we're the most successful organization out there, why we've beaten the big guys, and that's because of a philosophy to serve. I'll never forget when we first hosted and asked Les Brown to speak to our organization. As a matter of fact, Darcy and I sponsored Les Brown and Gladys Knight when we were in the People's Network. They were in our organization with that television network that was acquired by Prepaid Legal, today Legal Shield. I flew out and did a 3-day event on Super Bowl weekend at the MGM Hotel back in, I think, 95, when I first met Gladys. And that was through an invitation by Les to talk to Gladys about residual income. Long story, I'll share it with y'all sometime when we got more time. But Gladys got so excited about residual income because, as she said to us, the Motown artists got screwed by Berry Gordy and never had residual income. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And she goes, John, I've been performing since I've been 6 years old. And I'm like, I didn't know. And so anyhow, she invited me back to meet with her family and other members because they wanted to know about residual income and the power of leverage. So that's how it all started. But I'm talking to Les, and Les was telling me a story about how he was one of the speakers for the Amway Corporation. All right. This is before I even got started in the industry. Dexter Yeager is one of the biggest money earners. You can Google him, in the history of the entire network marketing industry. Top money earner for the Amway Corporation. And when Les would come into town as a speaker for Dexter's organization, Dexter would park his car at the airport, walk to the gate. Now, this is before 9/11. This is before the security issues and all that jazz, where you could walk straight out to the gate and meet your family or meet your guests. So Dexter, making millions and millions and millions of dollars a year, I think Dexter was almost at one point a 7-figure earner with Amway on a monthly basis. I mean, it was unbelievable. But Dexter would park his car, walk to the gate, meet Les, and then carry Les's bags. And I just remember watching Les, listening to Les talk about that kind of level of leadership. And it resonated something in me, like, wow, serve others, shine your light on others, and watch how someday others will want to shine their light on you. All right. And that kind of spoke to, the founder of Costco. Sinegal meets his guests in the lobby. So this guy, doesn't expect his executive assistant to go down and meet his guests, bring him up to a big elaborate corporate boardroom. He goes down and meets them in the lobby. It just, it just kind of says something special. What did it say? Good benefits, pays 42% more than their chief rival. The next one was Sol Price, a guy that was a mentor to Senegal. Who are you guys having? What are you doing? Who are you looking to have mentors to you? Just a good question. What are you doing to look for, mentors in your area or maybe in your environment? And look, you don't have to necessarily find someone in your environment. Maybe you're like my dear friend Katie. You live in Missoula, Montana, where there's more cows and chickens and horses than there are people. I don't know. That's not necessarily true. There's a lot of people in Missoula, but you know what? Online, you can find a lot of tremendous coaches, or you can find a lot of tremendous value in people who are willing to serve. One of the biggest podcasts I go to is by a Navy SEAL organization. I love the leadership principles that come from our special operators and that come from people like the Navy SEALs. My daughter married a tremendous young man who's an Air Force Academy graduate. His name's Zach. And we were playing basketball just before their marriage 2 years ago. The ball went out of bounds, and two of the Air Force Academy guys were arguing about the ball going out of bounds. And one of the guys looked at Zach and said, "Are you questioning my integrity and character?" And in less than a nanosecond, Zach goes, "Absolutely not. It's your ball." It was just neat to watch the level of character that comes out of the academy and out of others who are based on pure principle. It was just a beautiful thing. I've been in situations where I would argue and fight till the cows came home. Where to get us, I don't know. Bridget, do you have a quick comment on this?
I do. And
Okay.
I believe that you and Darcy have just such witnessed to all of us on your team, John, the passion that the Bible alone just brings, because Jesus was a server and the elite server. But I was watching a show a couple nights ago on TBN, and CeCe Winans was being out of Detroit, Michigan, and she's one of my favorite gospel singers, but she was being interviewed, and she mentioned Pastor Miles Monroe. And you and Darcy have mentioned him so many times to us too, even at our breakout meetings, John. So what she said, though, that she'll never forget, that she was sitting in front and at a conference with him. He said, "The cemetery is the richest place in our nation. So many dreams, goals, and so many things that were never ever shared should be in books that aren't written." And then she commented about 100-year-old friend from their church. And she said to the congregation one day up front, "I'm 100, but I know the Holy Spirit told me to start another Bible class, and I'm starting one this week." So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, bless their heart. I mean, so true. And I don't know why I left Miles out, but Miles and Ruth blessed us beyond words, and so very true. So that's good stuff. So just again, that servant. So I'm going to read that quote that's in the box on page 49. I think that's just a good one to put on the refrigerator. It's improper for one person to take credit when it takes so many people to build a successful organization. When I got the chairman's award, I was very grateful to get the chairman's award, but I wanted everybody to know that I'm a recipient of every one of you, and as I receive that award, I'm receiving it on behalf of everybody who's out there, in the trenches, seeing the people, telling the story, getting the objections, getting the no's, having the wins, fighting the failures and things like that. I don't know who won the most valuable player last night for the Super Bowl. I would imagine probably Jalen Hurts, the quarterback for the, did he, Brenda, for the Philadelphia Eagles? Yeah. I was pulling for the Eagles. I mean, it was a kind of a bummer game that they blew them out like that. If I were the quarterback, if I were Jalen, or if I were any other quarterback per se, winning the most valuable player, I would have my lineman standing right next to me, and I would be sharing that trophy with each one of my linemen, knowing that the only way I can make a handoff, the only way I can make a pass is if I'm protected from the big guys up front. You know, it's the same thing with each of us. You know, we're a small portion and a bigger cog in what it takes to, you know, be successful. So shine your light, share the thoughts, share the beauty of it. Couple more thoughts and we'll open it up to you guys in respect to how we kind of, you know, what you may be garnered for this chapter. One of the things that cracks me up over time is people will tell me, gosh, John, I'd love to have your life or your success. And that really isn't true. They would like to have my life. They might like to have my success, but they don't want to do what we did to get here. John, I really want the view from the top of the mountain. I'm like, no, you really don't, because you don't want the climb. You know, what I try to encourage to this organization, our organization, is that you can have this success, you can have this lifestyle without having to do near what Darcy and I had to do to get here. Because today things are so much easier, okay? The technology, the media, the opportunity, more importantly, the opportunity, the membership, and what it is we do, what it is we sell, how we recruit is better than anything we ever had in the early days. So, lastly, 2 examples. Serving others, having an interest in others, and those 4 questions on page 53. Those 4 principles are critical. We add value to others when we truly value others. All right, just let me hit them quick. Number 2, we add value to others when we make ourselves more valuable to others. All right, we add value to others when we do things. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Number 3, we add value to others when we know and relate to what others value. That's one of the things I've been a huge proponent of teaching, is how we can coach, mentor, develop the strengths and interests of the people we recruit. And I'm going to use a couple examples to that. Number 4 is we add values to others when we do things that God values. I'm going to say the same thing that John Maxwell says in this chapter. You can skip this. It's a non-negotiable for me. Whether you're a believer, whether you're not, whatever your religion, I respect that. But look at the principles that are in the Bible. Look at the principles that Jesus taught. Look, I've read parts of the Quran. There are very good things that are in the Quran that are taught by Muhammad. All right. I'm not a believer. I'm not a follower. And in the bigger picture, I'm sorry, it's just not where I'm going. But there's things that you can learn that can be of value. So anyhow, I can think of an example in our organization where this individual had a tough time and still has a tough time building a team. And this individual would talk to me at the end of the month as I would go through the Wealth Builders tracking form, and I would go through the personal daily achievement, and I would coach and mentor, trying to help this individual build a team. And I'm finding out the things that they were saying to their organization at the end of the month. Hey, it's the 28th, and you know, you've got a chance to Performance Club qualify. I'm only a few counters, you know, short of qualifying executive director. Are you going to get these next 2 memberships? What do you have in your pipeline? The bottom line is, it's like this individual wasn't interested in what was happening to help her team. This individual was more interested in how they were going to qualify, trying to leave he and she out of it and use the word they. But they were more interested in how they were going to qualify themselves, and not necessarily what they could do to help the team. You know, and you're either subtracting or adding to that team. And over time, they're going to realize either you're a subtractor or you're an addition. If you are a subtractor, it's going to quickly turn to division. And that's all in this chapter that we're reading on. I have another individual on the team who was trying to make a recruiter out of one of their group producers. And I had a come to Jesus moment. Let's just put it that way with this individual, and said, you've got to be kidding me. This individual will put up 15, 20 memberships, put up, $600 to $1,000 in premium where you only need $1,400 to qualify ED, and you want them to recruit. You need to complement and bring value to the strengths and interests they have and stop. And this group producer, it kind of, as we went along, didn't want to have any more conversations with their upline because their upline truly wasn't bringing value or serving those strengths and interests. I said to this individual, I go, wouldn't you want to have 3 or 4 more people just like her? My gosh, encourage her to continue to go down that road and travel that road as one of your top group producers, and go out and recruit 4 or 5 people who want to do the team building thing, and just compliment her for what she is doing. Anyhow, it was like, didn't have ears to hear, and pretty crazy. So I'm done chitter chattering. Page 53, principles 1, 2, 3, and 4 are just rock solid. Page 56 with Dan Cathy talking to John Maxwell about the shoe brush. I thought it was just unbelievable. Ego, what's it stand for? Edge God out. Pride cometh before the fall. Keep your humility. Look to how you can serve others. Complement the strengths and interests of those who do come into the business, and take them in the direction that meets their strengths and interests by serving that. Bridget, real quick, go, and we'll try to get through about maybe 3, 4 people here before we wrap it up. You're on mute, Bridget.
I just wanted to share this saying that I was looking up a group last night online that I will be doing a DM meeting with the field trainer. And the president said, I've learned people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never, ever forget how you made them feel. And that's you and Darcy, dear. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bridget. I love it. That's very nice. This is the hour of power, people. I've talked way too much tonight. Thoughts on the chapter you just read? What was your aha moment? Regina, how are you, dear?
I'm doing amazing, sir. Oh, well, I have the 25th anniversary edition, but there's one of the boxes that says inexperienced leaders are quick to lead before knowing anything about the people they intend to lead. But mature leaders listen, learn, and then lead. So that's what stood out to me, is to learn about people and how I can bring value to their lives first before I can lead them, their family, their why, making sure we learn their why.
I tell you what, Regina, that's just powerful. Learn about people first. That's one of the beautiful things about the recruiting phase. If you'll understand how to ask a few questions, within 30 seconds, I guarantee you can find common ground with almost anybody that you meet. Once you find common ground, you now have a chance to go a little deeper with questions that allow you to learn even more. And then, to Regina's point, now the more you learn, the more you know, the more you know, the more you can help. And the more you know, usually the more you can wrap around the beauty of our services to the opportunity side, or the membership protection side, the identity theft side, la-di-da-di-da. And it always can lean you to move you to the word help once you get to know them. Regina, that's strong, girl. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda?
You're muted.
Brenda or not?
Oh, I'm sorry. This chapter reminded me of Bob Berg's books, The Go-Giver and The Go-Giver Sells More. It's all about value.
Great book. Great book. If you haven't read it, I'd encourage it. Anybody else? We're at 9:38, maybe one or two more.
Teresa.
Rayetta?
Teresa's hand was up.
Oh, I didn't see Teresa's. Oh, Teresa, I'll come to you. Rayetta, go, and we'll go to Teresa.
Teresa, you're muted.
All right, Teresa, go ahead, and Rayetta, we'll come back to you.
You're still muted.
Muted, Teresa.
Sorry. I just wanted to say that one of the things that strikes me with this is a couple of things that you said. One of the things that Bill Hoffman, oh God, let's tell him about that. You guys have just merged together. Bill Hamilton has always said to us that this business really is about relationship building. It's about getting to know your team members and getting to know their families, getting to know what they want. And we have to spend time to know that so that you know how to best help them. That was number one. Number two, I thought about when you spoke about the young lady who was trying to turn someone who is business solution oriented into being a networker. And, you know, one of the things, I had a conversation with someone on my team and I apologized to him because I said, you know what, even though we're talking about stuff from the networking side, I want you to still stay focused on the group side because that's what you excel in. And so on our own team call, he's the one that gives all the group nuggets to help us to learn more from us so that he can feel like he's bringing value and we're getting value from him as well. The last thing is that if I were to do group and I were to do it all by myself, no team, then that's one thing. But when I look at the ring to me represents a team effort. I might be the one who's wearing the ring, but it's because of the efforts of every single person in my organization who has done their part, not for me, but for building for what they wanted for their own families. So, looking at it, it's really a team effort, and that's how we have to treat it. So those are my thoughts.
No, that's so good, Teresa. It is a representation of the team, and I think it's critical that we all recognize that group. Teresa, I think of Bill and Annette, and the early days, I can't remember what car it was, a Can-Am or something. They had 300,000 miles on it. They would drive, and what was it that Bill and Annette would say? You need to know the color of your associates' carpet. And they would.
That's right.
They would drive hours upon hours, and they would do a private business meeting with two people. They would stay the next night, maybe do it with one person, but then that meet group would turn into 10, turn into 15. They would go back a couple months later. They put 300,000+ miles on just one car. And it didn't matter where they went or what roads they traveled. It could be a community of 10,000, 5,000, or 450,000. It didn't matter. They would be there and they would know the color of Teresa's carpet and many others. So
absolutely, John. They lived with me for 2 weeks. They would come in and help me build my business, eat up all my food and everything. But you know what? That's why I'm still here today.
That's right.
Because of what they poured into me. And I'm very grateful for that. And yes, he always told us you need to know the color of the carpet in a person's home if you're going to lock arms with them. And he always said, don't recruit where you're not willing to go. Do not recruit where you're not willing to go. So yes, those, if you don't want to go to Tupelo, Mississippi, don't recruit in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right. That's a golden nugget. That's a golden nugget. And and documentation beats conversation. I talked to Bill and Annette over the holidays. I know Bill's into his maybe mid 80s. They're still making six figures. They're not near as active as they were one day, and bless their soul, they shouldn't have to be, but they've built a solid foundation with a solid organization and still make 6 figures in residual income. So,
Absolutely.
Rayetta, do we have anything from you? One more from you and we'll wrap it up.
Okay, well, my thoughts are, I'm way down here in New Mexico, and my upline is Paul Archuleta, and I'm a realignment from another team, and my whole upline completely fell apart. They either passed away or they left Legal Shield or something happened. And all that time, I just felt lost. I felt like, who's going to help me? Who's going to show me how to do this? Who's going to teach and train me? I kept going to the meetings. I kept going to the events. I kept doing the 10 core commitment. And I looked at the 10 core and I thought, which one can I do and which one am I having trouble with? So the 2 exposures a day I was struggling with and finding a workout partner. So that's when I got down on my knees and I prayed to Heavenly Father. I'm like, I need help. You know me. Help me find that person that can teach me and show me. And one day I heard Paul Archuleta talking, and I just got this feeling, this is who I'm looking for. So I realigned with Paul and I got myself back up to director, and he's been a support. This whole organization has been amazing. Your leadership is amazing, and it's totally different from the other team that I came from. So I'm just so happy to be in this organization. So I just wanted to share that part.
No, Ray, well, thank you. We love you. And thanks for sharing that. Paul's a tremendous leader and he's building a solid team. He's got great principles and character, and it's representative of everybody on this call. So you've got more that can help you and will help you. And thanks for sharing those comments. All right. In closing tonight.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
before you close, may I make an announcement?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I want everybody to know John is going to be here in the DMV, which is Maryland, Virginia, Northern Virginia, and DC next month on March the 7th and 8th. So that's only about an hour away from Baltimore. So I will have the flyer up in Shield Nation sometime this week. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because now is your time. Hopefully you've been doing it, but if you haven't been, start recruiting, start looking at asking questions. Who do you know in the Baltimore area? Who do you know in Maryland? Who do you know in DC, Virginia, Northern Virginia? Because that Super Saturday, he's going to be our guest speaker. And we can get, if you let me know, I will play host for you. We'll make sure that those individuals get introduced to John. And, let's start building you a team here. So when you come for the convention, that now you've got a nice team right here. Even if it's 3, 4, 5 people, 2 people can lead you to 4, which can lead you to 8, which can lead you to 16. And before you know it, you've got a strong team right here in this area, because John is, I guess he's committed to coming back once a year to hang out with us. He was just here last year and he's back again this year. So I want to make sure that you guys know that. Let's take full advantage of him being here and building your own personal organization, which builds Shield Nation as well.
And Teresa, the beauty in that is, I think the following 2 or 3 weeks later, Warren comes in. So
Warren
I think
was
it's
just here this weekend.
okay. So Warren, me, then Darnell comes in. So it's just a great opportunity to build upon itself on the East Coast as we build into Baltimore. Also, just FYI for everybody, I'll be in Manhattan, New York on the 22nd with Cliff and the team. So this month on the 22nd. So if you have anybody up there, I'll meet them. I'll spend time with them, and I'll do anything that you need for any new recruits up there, as well as associates. Then I'll be with Teresa, as she mentioned. And then on March 22nd, I don't have that here. I do too, February. So yeah. So March 8th in Maryland with Teresa and the team up there. And then I'll do the Super Saturday in Denver on March 22nd. All right. All events you can build into. And I would suggest everybody can have brand new associates in the Northeast at that international conference in Baltimore. All right. Big opportunities to build in a very dense market throughout that whole eastern seaboard. Okay. You might not know somebody there, but you know somebody who knows somebody there. All right. I'm going to have Trish post the questions tomorrow on Shield Nation. I'll have her post the questions tomorrow on Shield Nation that I'd like to have a review with you on the laws of addition. So there's 4 of them. What does it mean to add value to someone? Describe how someone added value to you. What steps have you taken or will you take to understand what the people on your team value? And how can your own personal growth help you to better serve the people on your team? So those will be some questions we'll post tomorrow, give you a chance to think through it. And that's how we'll open up next week's call, with just bringing your insights as to what your thoughts are to those questions. Okay. All right.
Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Night, everybody.
Thanks,
Good
John.
night. Thanks,
Bye.
John.
Yep,
Have a
yep.
good night.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you,
Good
John.
night.
Good luck to Darcy.
I will. See you guys.
Hey, thank you.